What's up, guys, and welcome back. We are back on the Yamaha R9. I just did Podium Club in Arizona last weekend, and I didn't get to do a lot of recording, but well, I guess I take that back. I did a lot of recording. We set up this really cool idea that Dustin had from track days that we record who could get the fastest lap time on the Yamaha R3. We picked his Yamaha R3 and we ran it through a bunch of people. Did some interviews of what they thought before and after to see how they enjoyed the R3, and it turned out to be pretty funny. So I'm editing that video right now. That should come out on his channel. I will link that here, and that is going to be pretty funny. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It had a lot of the social media dudes. That's got a lot of flack lately for potentially people being annoyed that social media people are going to the track. And myself, I even posted a video of crashes that had happened at that track day. That first day, I'll admit, was a little crazy, and there was a lot of crashes. But if you even watched, even in my clip, I wasn't trying to say social media content creator guys are the ones who created these crashes, because not a one person in my clip was a social media content creator that crashed. So it's pretty hard to blame them when it wasn't even them. But what I'm trying to get at is we had Matt Woods there. We had, what was it, Mad Maxie? I think his name is Adam. He was pretty cool. We had him on there. And Cyan 420, as well as Max Wrist. And we all had so much fun, because you think a lot of people will just go, oh, well, it's an R3. It's not going to be cool. It's not going to be fun. And it turned out to be an absolute blast. You guys are going to love that video. And honestly, I think some of the animosity for people doing this, YouTuber people, whatever you want to call them, content creators, whatever, going to tracks being the bad thing, it's not, guys. If you talk to these guys and see the passion they have for getting people off the streets and stop doing dumb stuff on the streets, it's important. As I come out here and ride a little eager on some back roads, but it's important to show people that there is a track. It is fun, and I promise you guys are missing out. Last year, I don't think I posted a single riding video other than maybe some reviews of different motorcycles, and that was mainly because I stopped riding on the street. Not because I didn't want to, I was spending so much time on the track. And when you start really pushing yourself on the track, you start enjoying it so much that when it comes to street riding, you're like, it's whatever. I know I can't push myself on the street, I will on the track. And the dangers of getting jacked up on the street is very high versus there at the track. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's actually turning out to be a pretty cool situation. And if you saw the passion these guys had for what they're trying to do, I think you would maybe not diss them as much, basically, for what they're trying to accomplish. I think it's actually pretty rad. So back to the track experience now that I went on that whole rampage of social media people out on track. This motorcycle on track has some really cool aspects about it, and also a few that really turned me off. And I'll leave the bad stuff for the end, I guess. I'll just talk about some of the good stuff up front here. And the first being how comfortable this motorcycle is, even though it's monstrous. Like, I still didn't fix the GP shift yet. I still didn't raise the rear sets. I didn't really have time out there at the track, to be honest with you. I just kind of rode it and had some fun with it. But that up front, the ergonomics for my feet, those bugged me, because I scraped the hell out of these pegs everywhere I went on the track, which is very annoying. So definitely something that has to be fixed, right? I gotta bump those rear sets up, and of course get some real rear sets at some point in time here, and then put my GP shift. I'll try and do that here. Maybe next week's video I'll show you guys if you're interested in seeing how to raise your rear sets on the R9, as well as switch it over to GP shift. And the ergonomics, I guess is what I'm trying to say, on track they really weren't bad, even though I wanted to do those things. The motorcycle itself is very comfortable, yet very easy to get into an aggressive position while you're riding, even stock setup like this. I really enjoyed riding it on the track. in these relaxed ergos is what I'm trying to say. The other thing that I found very cool about the motorcycle is how playful it is, really due to wheelbase. Wheelbase, I've probably explained on dozens of videos in the past, has a lot to do with stability of the motorcycle at high speeds versus agility of the motorcycle at low speeds. The longer it is, the more stable it is. The shorter it is, the more flickable and nimble it is. This motorcycle has a very nice, from stock setup, nimble, yet still very comfortable and stable at high speeds. So they've definitely done well with this bike, in my opinion, and it really showed through on track when I finally got to ride the bike more aggressively than obviously I would be willing to do out on the streets. So ergonomics were better than I expected. They have some fixes there. Stability, agility of the motorcycle, better than I expected. This thing feels more playful than my full race build 660. It really does. It feels more playful than that, and that is pretty freaking cool to me. What else was cool on track, I guess, would be the auto blipper worked really well, up and down. I never found any of those instances like my RS660, its auto blip feature. You just gotta shut it off if you want the bike to not act stupid, throw errors at you, lose traction control while you're racing. That's happened multiple times with trying to use auto blipper with my 660. You just gotta turn it off, it don't work. This felt really good to me, the auto blip feature for this motorcycle. Now, I didn't get it as hard, obviously, on these stock tires than I would on my full heated up race tires on the 660, but this quick shifter auto blipper worked very well. It was a good positive for this bike. So to get into a few negatives, the first thing that popped out of my mind when I rode this thing on track for the first time was, where's my power? First and second gear is so gutless at lower RPMs. And it's not that the motorcycle isn't fast at those RPMs, that it's specifically tuned out of the motorcycle to be weak in first and second gear. And it is very noticeable. Now, on the streets, you probably don't notice it that much. When you take off from a stop sign or something like that, you'll probably be like, oh, it's okay, it's pretty badass, up to 5,000-6,000 RPMs, and then it starts gradually pulling hard on you. And then by the time you get through that first gear and you're up there a little higher in the RPMs and you tag second gear, there's some power there for you because you're already past the lower rev range, basically. But if you're not, it is gutless and there's nothing there in first and second gear in the lower. Coming out of a corner, full lean angle, thinking like, I'm high enough in the rev range, I should be able to have, if I was on my 660, it would have plenty of freaking power in second gear coming out of the corners. I was here at a Podium Club, but this thing was just a dog. It was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing there, why? And if I bumped up to third gear, I'd be way too high, but I would at least have some power coming out of the corner. Not enough because it's third gear and I needed to be in second, but you could just tell right off the bat that the tune is for first and second gear, and it is brutally painful. Bugs the crap out of me. Like, when I first did it, I was like, I really don't like it. I don't like this bike. And I started looking a little bit more into it and trying to understand what was going on. And somebody showed me a chart with how much they've tuned out of first and second gear, and it was like, oh, son of a bee, it's a quick flash and we'll solve this problem. So, not the end of the world. I just had to point it out. Just bugged the crap out of me, kind of thing. But besides that, the only other thing that really bugged me on the track with this motorcycle was the tires. The S22s or whatever, no bueno. Perfectly fine street tires, not so bueno out on the track, which is kind of an unfair assessment because, like I said, I am used to riding on track with full Pirelli SC1 slicks. I do not go out on track unless I've had heaters on my tires before I get out, so not a fair assessment, but I have rode plenty of other tires on track. Hell, even the R3 that I rode out there for the little series of affordable sport bike video that we made. Even that we had SD3s on there, and they're DOTs. They're not full-on SC, they're not full-on race tires, but they're pretty damn close. But those, we didn't heat those up, and they were sticky as hell. So definitely not a fan of the S22s, but I will just burn them out commuting. And if I go back to the track, I will probably throw something else on there. But that kind of wraps it up, guys. That was the overall weekend. It was a freaking blast. I'm headed back out again this weekend, not to Arizona, thank God, because that was a 10-hour drive. But I'm going back to Buttonwillow, and I'm gonna have some fun out there. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hopefully you got a little bit out of this. If you have any questions, just hit me up. I'm sure I could answer them pretty easily. It's sometimes difficult riding around thinking about what you need to talk about, because it's not like I script myself. I just kind of try and have some fun with you guys and let you know how something went. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week. Bye.